right, everybody, welcome into Average Joe's Sports Talk, our weekly high school review. We're going to make this one short and sweet. We got to film all of our videos. Today is Sunday. I'm actually leaving for Houston early Tuesday morning, so we will not be in town to do any more videos this week. And this is, to this date, obviously the biggest week of not only high school football but college as well. Rivalry week.
Yep.
And another third round of the playoffs for Alabama high school, so that's massive. Give you a little preview of what we're going to have. Shannon's for sure going to check out Etowah for sure. You guys still kind of up in the air, kind of a Hoax Bluff lean at this point, or what?
Yeah.
All right. So we will have some boots on the ground. I'm going to try to be on the sidelines at Allen, the number 2 team in the nation, Friday night. I've been in contact with them, so hopefully that'll work out. That'll give us some credibility in the great state of Texas, man.
Pretty good football down there in Texas.
Yeah, they play pretty good football. We noticed one thing on our IMG Modern Day coverage that tons and tons of fans from Allen was on there talking, Allen in the house, talking trash about everybody else. But anyways, we're going to dive right in, and we're going to start off. Hey, Shannon, can you grab the Mountain Dew, move it back a little bit? No. We're going to start off with Shannon, actually.
It's my sponsor.
Shannon, Etowah's on the road at Center Point. Took control of the game. It was a 16-0 at halftime. I believe that's correct. A cold night in Center Point. Tell us a little bit about how that game played out and why.
It was exactly 16-0. We went up pretty quickly on a. We wound up blocking a punt, getting on 1 yard line, punching it in. Offense generated the first touchdown. Go up 16-0, have control of the game. We get in a little bit of a complacent mode. Now, the field conditions were terrible. I mean, when I say terrible, they are.
I heard the field looked like hamburger meat when I got through.
Yeah, it did. And, we had the all whites on, and there was not a white jersey left on the field after that. But and Center Point was not a bad team. And I tell you, that number 53 for Center Point, he's a man. He's a man-child. He was all over the place. We went back to kind of the beginning of the season a little bit. Running the ball a lot more. It reminded me of watching a pro football game when they get up a couple touchdowns and they start running the ball and laying on defense a little more. And that happens, well, then we wind up fumbling the ball, poor field conditions, fumble the ball, they pick it up, scoop and score, 60 yards, I believe, made it 16-8 after 2-point conversion. We do get another block punt. Nana Davis blocks his second punt of the night.
He had 2 blocks.
He had 2 blocks. Score on that. We get 2-point conversion, 24 to 8 at that point. Yeah, 24 to 8. They do wind up coming back. We may as well. That's middle of third quarter. We may as well. Literally, we would have done just as well to snap the ball and down it, go in victory formation every single play after that from the middle of third quarter on, because we handed the ball to Trent, our player of the year, one of our favorite players, Trent Davis, touched the ball more last night or Friday night than he has in any single game this year, and for good reason. I mean, the conditions call for it, but it's the same formation, just a little different variation, maybe a different hole. And I'm not saying that maybe even just they were selling out. I mean, bro, they had loaded the box and they were selling completely out. So maybe just a rollout. If we're trying to keep the clock rolling, that's fine. If nothing's there on the rollout, then hit a slide and let's keep the clock running. But, we did that. Well, then they come down, I want to say late in the third quarter. I can't remember exactly. And they drop back and throw a deep pass, and Dericky Wright has great coverage on the kid. I'm assuming it's a wet ball. Kid flutters it up in the air. It's about 10 or 15, 20 yards short. So DB's on him. Well, who's got the advantage in that situation? Wide receiver. He comes back to the ball, catches it, makes a little juke move, and he scores. And
accidental back shoulder fade.
Accidental back. It was just fluttering up there like a punt. And Dericky's in coverage in an unfortunate situation. But that's what you run into, even with a great defense. If we don't get out there and score the football, and we just rely on the defense to do things, that the defense they're human. I mean, there's only so much. You know what? There's going to be a time in these playoffs where someone takes about 80 yards on our defense. When you get into these later rounds, it's probably going to happen. Again, man, I don't want to sit here and bash the offense too much, because a win's a win, and maybe that was the game plan going in. Nasty field conditions. I hope to see something completely different this week. Better field conditions, hopefully Etowah, and the offense come out. But I'm going to tell you that Central Clay team is they're something else. I mean, if we get out there and do that against them, we might be in trouble. They're a little better than Center Point.
They have a legendary coach, yeah. We'll handle that on our preview. So, did Ricky play any quarterback or
He
two?
had a drive. He did have a drive or two where he came in and ran the quarterback keeper. I don't know that he ever passed. So I think we did run a couple pass plays to him, but again, Center Point's not bad. That defense is the best defense we've seen this year, by far. But we can't, just because that's the best, most athletic defense we've seen this year. We can't, we're a good offense. We have dynamic playmakers everywhere, and it seems like Trent touched the ball. I don't even know, man. It had to be 30 times, 25 to 30 times, and you got playmakers out there. But anyways, hopefully they got that out of their system. That may have been the game plan going in. We executed, won 24-14. Hopefully going forward, we pick it up a little more. Even a screen pass or something. I mean, Center Point was coming. They just had their ears pinned back coming. A little screen pass or something. But again, we won, and that's the name of the game in the playoffs, especially. So defense played outstanding again. Gave up that one. Outside of that, Center Point probably didn't have 50 yards.
Really?
I don't know if Etowah had 150 though. So.
The Center Point beat Russellville, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I mean,
that says a lot about them.
Yeah, they're not a bad team, and again, but if we're going to get beat, let's get beat going down swinging. If it eventually happens, and hopefully it doesn't, I think we can go all the way if we execute on both sides of the ball. But we have to do it on both sides of the ball. We can't just bad field conditions may have played into a lot of play calling. I don't know.
yeah, I think bad field conditions was
Across the state.
across the whole state.
Yep.
So I guess we'll go into the Hoax Bluff game next, which is the game we attended. Reggie and I called the game. When you pull up North Jackson, it was as advertised as everyone's told us. Sits off in a valley. Set off in a valley. We pulled up. We were extremely early. Not many people were there. I realized real quick they have a bigger stands, larger home stands than anybody I think I've sat on, minus Hoover. And that's at the Met, but I'm talking about, it's actually bigger than Etowah's, believe it or not, bigger than Gadsden City's. Etowah's is bigger than Gadsden City's, but massive stands, which was not good for Reggie and I because we were literally 75 to 100 yards away from the action. And on top of that, they put us in a 4x4 room with the North Jackson announcer. So I literally have the North Jackson announcer calling the game, touching my shoulder. And Reggie and I sitting there like, this is unbelievable. And then to top that off, for it being our first time calling a game, we had no down marker on the scoreboard. We had no yardage marker. They didn't have the quarters updated. Nothing with the timeouts, anything. So everything.
Basically, the scoreboard that just had the
It had the
Score
score.
at the time.
Like a Pee-wee game. A Pee-wee game, they don't do any of
Yeah.
that. So.
And I was sitting there like, man, could you literally find worse conditions to do your first broadcast ever? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that was actually where we were was better than the first spot they were going to have us in. No power in the press box. Had to climb up a little ladder to get in there, and there was no table. It was the windows were fogged over. I mean, you couldn't. It was pretty bad. So,
And that's where the Hoax Bluff coaches were, right?
no, they were on the
Oh, okay.
home side as well.
And so actually Darian's dad went and filmed over there. So he said he had to keep unfogging the windows to check it out. But it had frozen. I mean, the seats were frozen with ice on them. So Reggie said it was.
And
Yeah.
I know y'all seen this too, but on the sidelines, I was standing at the line of scrimmage, and it was like something you see in NFL films, like the ice.
Oh yeah, like the
Yeah.
When they
red.
got down into their stances, it was just cold air,
Just back and forth.
smoke,
Back and forth.
back
From
and
our angle, dude, it probably like this is a center point too, but from our angle, it was a white cloud.
Cloud, yeah, it was.
I don't know that it was that bad there.
Dude.
I don't remember it being.
We were in the mountains, so
So they said on Google, Reggie looked at it and said, I was about 42, 44 degrees. When we got in our car, it's 34 degrees.
It might have been that cold there. It was freezing cold. I didn't see.
So diving into the game, we're going to talk about the game a little bit. Reggie and I, and I'm just going to say this on our show, I don't care if people get mad, if somebody from North Jackson, the state, or whoever watches this, I'm just going to tell the truth. Reggie and I have to go through the pass gate. We can't even get in the stadium, and we're hearing how good Lee Witherspoon is. Everybody's like, "Hey, you guys here to see Lee Witherspoon?" We're actually here to call the game for Hoax Bluff. Oh, Witherspoon's unstoppable, man. Nobody's even slowed him down this year. And I was like, "That's good, man." I said, "This other running back's pretty good on the other side of the field." Yeah, we've heard he's okay. Hey, Witherspoon was in Tennessee last week.
Yeah.
So they keep throwing this arrogance out. So I just start dishing it back. I'm like, "That's awesome." You know why? Because the coach for Tennessee's dad was on our show Wednesday. You know, and I'm just like, so they're just sitting here throwing this, you know. And then finally, Reggie just cuts them off and said, "Well, hey, you guys will find out who he is here in just a few minutes."
Oh, yeah.
He says that here in about 30 minutes, you'll find out who Darren Meads is. And, yeah, buddy, they found out.
From the opening kickoff, North Jackson knew who Hoax Bluff was.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
Hoax Bluff kicked the ball off. North Jackson
What was
fielded
his
it,
name? Number 7.
number 7. Oh man,
I can't think of his
can't
name.
remember his name.
Maxwell or something with an M, yeah.
He laid
Oh,
that
my
guy
God,
from North
dude.
Jackson. Now we heard it in the press box. We heard the hit in the press
dude.
box. I mean,
It was Reuben Foster.
If you remember the LSU game where it went to overtime, the last kick return where Reuben Foster laid Fournette out,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah. It was,
it was just like that.
it was identical.
and
The angle and
sidelines-
everything.
I was on the sidelines. Sidelines went crazy. The crowd went crazy.
Yeah,
And on that first drive, North Jackson ate up 8 minutes of clock.
Yeah.
And I think they converted on either 1 or 2
I
fourth
think it
downs.
was 2. It was 2.
But eventually they got down, shortened the field a little bit. Hoax Bluff held them on a 4th and goal, I
It was a
believe.
4th and goal. Yeah,
And so that big hit kind of fed into that goal line stand, I believe. And then
That goal line stand.
that momentum carried into the offense. And I can't say enough good things about Darian. I mean, I've been looking forward
Yeah.
to just talking about Darian.
yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong, the Hoax
The
Bluff whole team played excellent. The defense, Ashton Gullidge, there's some really good passes. The defense had an interception, but if you were at that game, you know who number 6 was.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I mean, give my hats off to Hoax Bluff's defense. When calling the game, you know, I was trying to get numbers of individual players, which you couldn't because it's like the whole entire defense was going to the ball. And I think I said more times on the night, it was like, "Oh, there's a host of Eagles on that tackle.
Yeah.
There's a host of Eagles on that tackle."
couldn't name 'em.
You couldn't name them. I mean, it's like they knew as soon as they got the ball, they were going straight to the ball the whole entire night. And I mean, North Jackson didn't have an answer for it.
What, like Josh said, the momentum that carried from that goal line stand, Hoax Bluff then took the ball and drove 95 yards.
Yeah, they did.
And Hoax Bluff's offense is refreshing, and I never thought I'd say this in my life. It's actually refreshing to watch an I formation team because, as you know, Etowah runs some I though, but nowadays it's spread. Everybody, you know, and you know, Florida's been known to run the spread since Urban's in there, but it's refreshing to see a downhill running team. You know why? In these cold, horrible, atrocious situations like this, it's good. And when you get somebody like Meads running downhill, which I said before the pregame, in the booth, I said 2 things to Reggie. I said, "Reggie, number 1, this game's going to fly by because both these teams, all they do is, you know, predominantly run." I said, number 2, I said, when Meads gets running downhill on these guys, Hoax Bluff's built for this weather conditions. I don't know if North Jackson is.
When I was on the field pregame, I was sitting there and I was thinking, man, this is cold. I looked at the field, it was muddy. The field was just in bad conditions.
Yeah.
I said, this is right down Hoax Bluff alley.
It is.
It is.
Tell me your famous quote.
I said, you're not gonna out Hoax Bluff.
That's the quote of the year. I think.
You're not going to out Hoax Bluff.
Because they were plumb excited. And you could see it. And I even talked with a member of the North Jackson chain gang, and this was after the Witherspoon kid, which hope he's all right. He took a heck of a hit.
He got smashed.
He's he's in concussion protocol, and, you know, but their season ended. But you know, he said, and this guy watched football. He knew what he was talking about, and he said that he was worried to death of how physical Hoax Bluff was, and that North Jackson had not seen a team as physical, and it showed.
Yeah, they did.
out physical North Jackson
They had some terrible calls too.
on both sides. There were several calls
Yeah.
where
Darian was actually getting up off the ground, and the back judge throws a flag from 25 yards behind the play and calls a chop block.
Yeah.
When he's getting up off the ground from the tackle.
and I've got that on video.
Defense probably doesn't get enough credit. I know we
Oh, they
love
don't,
Darian.
man.
All of us here love Darian, and but their defense is like like the other day at the game, I was talking to someone about the Hopes Bluff, and they were talking, at the run by. So their defense is pretty nice.
Legit.
They are
Yeah,
legit.
when we went to the buses and somebody that knew us, seen us, and knew that we had featured Darian, and he said, "Are you looking for Darian?" I said, "Heck, we'll take anybody from the defense right now."
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
Because that defense played
They
phenomenal.
played lights. They played lights out.
Yeah.
They played
I was
lights
proud
out.
of him, man.
Yeah.
Once Witherspoon went out, changing the dynamic of the game. We're gonna move on to the game. Woodall, their kid, he scrapped around their quarterback, but the Hopes Bluff was just too much. Darian started running downhill. Then Darian has a pick six, which I thought they was gonna kick us out of the press box when that happened because when I called the game, I was like, he jumped the route perfectly, picked it, took it to the house, and we were going crazy.
Yeah, we were. I mean,
And that was it. It was it after that.
Oh yeah, it was. I think that sealed the
final-
that sealed the game.
And had some
Finally, they did
technical
33.
issues in the press box.
Oh, yeah.
Anytime you got fired up, it would cut out.
It would cut out. Yeah, we had technical
That's
issues.
just
on
somebody
it's-
passionate about football.
Yeah, that's what you do when
Yeah.
you're calling
I
the
mean,
game.
your team scores, you get excited.
Yeah.
We had technical difficulties, I understand, on the radio, but it wasn't our fault.
It was no,
So-
it was it was good. We didn't want to be monotone the whole game.
Yeah.
Touchdown,
Hey.
folks.
And there was
Touchdown,
there's no way.
touchdown.
When I was standing on the sidelines and I was so my adrenaline was going,
Yeah.
and I came up to the press box and I went from now. There's probably been a more intense game played, but I haven't been at it. Certainly not on the sidelines.
Right.
So when I come up to the press box,
He's G.
He was yeah.
my adrenaline was going, and it took a second for me to calm back down because I was pumped up, and to go from that atmosphere because that's an intimidating place to play. Y'all was
Yeah,
right.
it is. It is.
One last thing before we shut this one down. We actually talked to Coach Rob.
Oh man.
Man, he gave us tons of good information, tons of good things, and, you could tell genuinely how hyped up and fired up he was to even talk to us.
Yeah. And he's
I know Coach Rob's all business, and a lot of times he don't like doing a lot of interviews and things like that. But man, he was excited. And he gave us more than enough, to talk about.
Oh yeah.
Let
he
me
did.
say one thing real quick. We'll move on, but I just if you're a Hopes Bluff fan, and I understand you're passionate, but let's keep the passion in bounds.
Yeah,
If you were there at the game, you know what I'm talking about.
yeah.
So love the fact they were getting after it, but got after it a little bit too much
Too
there.
much,
Yeah,
yeah.
about inciting the riot.
Yeah.
So yeah, we had
And that's not a good place to start a ride because
No.
there's
No.
people
we
up
would have
there.
been outnumbered up there.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to move on. All right, let's talk about a few games here. We're going to run through real fast. Jacksonville season end, the only loss Hopes Bluff had, which was very surprising. Even the Hopes Bluff people in the stands were like, what in the world? So Good Hope beat them 27-12. That's kind of shocking. Piedmont goes on. They were actually on the road, weren't they?
Yeah,
JB
they were on the
Pennington.
road.
They went on the road and won 41-16 over JB Pennington. Oxford, another huge win. That Region 6 they're in with Pinson is massive. They won 49 to nothing over
And that set
the
up a huge rematch, which we'll get into on the next show.
Let's see here. Fife, who we've took interest to, still haven't made our way out there. I'm pretty sure they'll still be playing after next week. So we'll probably go check them out, considering Josh looked up the stat and they haven't given up a point in the playoffs yet.
No.
They won 35 to 0 over Colbert County. Now, we'll talk about this game, and then we're going to dive into the 7A Region 3 games in just a second. But our friends at Southside, the season came to an end at Jasper, 41-14. Going into the game, we can all agree Southside had been on a roll. And during the week, I just said a lot of people used us as bulletin board material.
Yeah.
And we never said anything negative about Southside. We just knew Jasper had a good football team. We've actually featured more Southside players and coaches on this show than any other team. So
Yeah.
we definitely love following you guys and look forward to working with you guys in the off season. Seeing some of your strength and conditioning, Coach Doherty, if he's gracious enough to let us in, we definitely want in. We don't say anything negative about Southside. We love Southside. We love the people.
Yes, we do.
I've never wanted to be wrong in my
Yeah.
entire life.
But we just have to make
We have
honest
to,
opinions.
yeah. I mean, on paper, Jasper was the stronger team, and like I told some people last week that the games we know the game's not played on paper, but that's all we have to go on. I mean,
Well, they were on a roll. I
They
mean,
were.
When they start the season 0-4, and you say, okay, look, well, you're 0-4, but you can win the first round of the playoffs, lose the second round. Every Southside person in the world would take that instantly. And being on a roll only takes you so far in the playoffs because at some point you just run into a team that's just better than you, and it's okay. It doesn't make your kids any less than their kids. They were just better than you. I mean, that's just the way it is.
And-
you went from 0-4 to a first round loss. I mean, first round win,
Six in a
second round
row?
loss.
yeah, they won like 6 in a row.
Outstanding
That's-
season.
That is
It's a great
that is
season.
impressive.
Yeah.
Now, if
And-
you would have told us at 0-4 going into week 5, hey, this Southside team,
We would have
make
been
it.
like,
they're gonna make it second
Yeah.
round of the playoffs.
And I'm sure they were thinking the same thing. Like, no, but you know,
Well,
but
there's Southside people. We knew the whole time. Well, that's your team. You're going.
yeah.
I think Etowah's going to go undefeated and win the state championship. Well, that's my team. Of course, I think that.
Yeah.
I mean, they could get beat next week, but it's my team. So Southside people, we're more objective. We have to be on other teams.
Right.
I'm not with Etowah, but these guys.
that's awesome.
But
Eddie Wall.
Yeah, Eddie Wall.
Eddie Wall.
Somebody brought that back out from the 80s.
yeah. And really take this as a positive. Take this into your off-season training as a positive. Hey, we got on the road to the end of the season. Let's go work harder in the off-season, and let's get past the second round. Let's get to where we can beat teams like Jasper and Russellville and Etowah.
Hang the
Sorry.
score up in your weight room, man. For real.
Yeah, I mean, this uses his motivation and work harder in the off season to beat these teams like Jasper.
whatever changed, something changed.
Yeah,
Yeah. I give a lot of credit to Southside for sticking to the course, and they never gave up. They never, at 0-4, it'd be easy to throw in the towel, but they didn't.
They did,
So,
and that's hats off to the coaching staff, Coach Dowd.
Yes.
I mean, those guys never gave up on the team, and the team didn't give up on them. So
Yeah.
That's right.
All right. So now we're going to move on to these two massive games right here, and then we're going to shut this down. All right. Hoover looks like they're back to being Hoover. Beat a very stout, tough Mountain Brook team, 42-17. But this Thompson team is on fire right now, and they beat a very, very good Hewitt team, 37-13. I think what sticks out to me more than anything, it ain't the margin of victory, is how much they didn't give up.
yes, 13
13
points.
considering.
Now, Hewitt had hit a little spell there where they hadn't been clicking, but they were still scoring 40 and 30. Well, to go from 40 or 30 down to 13, that's saying a lot for Thompson.
You see your big dogs step up. Like how much did Hoover's experience come into play there?
Oh, yeah.
The guys that have been there before, that. And the bottom line is playoff time. Josh could be a 5-star recruit, but he's cruising through the season. But when it's money time, then he's going to pick it up. So how much does that play into everything too? So.
And one thing about that Hoover game, they were actually down 10-6 at halftime. So Hoover did what Hoover does. After halftime, they came in, they turned it up, and
Clearly
that was the
coaching
result.
in. Clearly.
Reggie's calling score out, and I said, nope, fake news.
Yeah, I was like, look, there it is.
I think I said fake news on air. Reggie's like, Hoover's down 10-6. You hear fake news. All right, so we're going to shut down our high school preview. Guys, please hit the subscribe button. Please hit the bell for the notifications. This is our weekly high school football review. We're out.